Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, man. So I was trying to go live a couple minutes ago, but I had to end that live, man. So we're back. All right. So this live right here, man, just gonna see who pops up in here. We'll go some Q&A, but I just want to chop it up about some things, man. First, Fabio Wardley, the 9-0 prospect with 8 KOs out of the UK. Lion Killer Podcast, what's up, bro? Fabio Wardley, the 9-0 prospect out of the UK. He was supposed to be fighting Lucas Brown on November 21st. That fight is off right now. Fabio Wardley's still going to fight, but Lucas Brown, according to Wardley, had a whole bunch of excuses. I just checked out Wardley's interview on IFL TV. Shouts out to them. And he was just saying there was a plethora of excuses from Lucas Brown. He said that, according to him, he said that Lucas Brown was difficult to deal with, to try to even make this fight. But whatever, Lucas Brown looking at this is like, man, I'm doing you the favor. You know, I'm giving you the shot at me. You know what I mean? And according to Wardley, he said this fight was offered to Nick Webb and it was offered to Cash Ali. And he said both of those fighters, whether it was their team, management, or whatever, turned down the fight. Okay, so no Lucas Brown, no Nick Webb, no Cash Ali. Enter Richard Lartey. That's who he will be fighting on November 21st, Richard Lartey. You guys probably remember him from the fight with Daniel Dubois. And then his most recent loss was to Nathan Gorman. Okay, so he's on a 2-fight losing streak. He actually I think he went the distance with Nathan Gorman. I know Dubois stopped him, but that was an entertaining one. Because he caught Dubois with, I think, a left hook. You know what I mean? So, Wardley's a guy that doesn't have a big amateur pedigree. All right, he's a type of dude that no amateur pedigree to really speak of. Just a lot of sparring. He's only 25. Just a lot of sparring, and I think he had like 2 little novice level fights or a couple little novice level fights. You know what I mean? So no extensive amateur background, none of that. All right, but I do like what I see. Kind of reminds me of like almost like a light version of like a Tyrell Biggs. He just likes to move, use his jab, use his footwork. Pretty smooth and fluid for a guy that, if you look at him, has no amateur experience. That lets you know the sparring with White, the sparring with Usyk has paid off in his career. And he sparred with some other guys as well. All right. So letting you guys know that. Also on that card, you got Alan Babbage taking on Tom Little. Okay. Another good, heavyweight fight. He backs him up, puts him on the back foot, because everything I've seen from him thus far, he's fighting downhill. You know what I mean? Also on that card, you got Dave Allen taking on TBA right now, so he has no opponent. All right. Also on the 21st was going to take place Simon Kean, the Canadian Olympic heavyweight, who's 19-1 with 18 KOs. That one loss was to who did he lose to? Because he actually fought him again and he beat him. Dylan Carmen. All right. He will not be making his ring return on the 21st. He suffered a hand injury. Okay, so he's out of there. All right. As far as what's going on tomorrow, man, what I've seen is Christian Thun. Now, some of you may be thinking, who the hell is Christian Thun, Mr. Boxing? Well, he lives in Miami by way of Germany. 6'9", 260-pound heavyweight. Now, what's interesting about him is he has been in a lot of training camps, right? He just turned pro in 2018. I think he's like 28 years old. But he just turned pro a couple of years ago. He's 5-0 with 3 knockouts. His best win, I believe, was against Jason Bergman, the southpaw. Some of you remember Bergman from the Joseph Parker fight. He fought Radinko. He's fought Arsenbek Makhmadov. He even fought Seth Mitchell back in the day, okay? He'll be taking on Jason Bergman. I think he's going to take care of... no, that was his last fight, was against Jason Bergman. That fight's on YouTube. And in that fight, man, he was mixing it up on Bergman. He even had him against the ropes one time. He stuck his tongue out at the crowd. He likes to play to the crowd, throws combinations. I haven't really seen him fight off the back foot, but he's a big, strong, aggressive dude, right? Now, he trains out of the world famous 5th Street gym down there in Miami. But I went, and when I was looking him up, he had an interview, and I will leave a link to the interview once this gets uploaded. I'll leave it in the comment section, man, and you can click it, watch it, and come to your own surmise about it. But one thing I noticed, he was telling stories about his camps, you know, being in Klitschko camp, being in Wilder camp. I think he sparred AJ as well. But he was like, man, when you work with Klitschko, because the guy was asking him, you know, differences in camps. And he had some little behind the scenes stories that I never even knew pertaining to Wilder. But let me talk about Klitschko. He said when you're in there with Klitschko, Klitschko likes to use the jab, move around, hit you with a right hand, you know, work on his check left hook, things like that. He says a Wilder camp for him. Now, this may not be for everybody, every fighter that has went and attended a Wilder camp for sparring. But for him, he said, man, Wilder wants to knock you out first round, even in sparring, first round. He wants to knock you the hell out. And he said the first punch that Wilder threw cut his eye with the headgear on. He said the first punch Wilder landed on me, and he was actually preparing Wilder for the first Fury fight. He said the first punch cut him. Then he said during that same sparring, he said during that, and I never knew this, man. He said during that same sparring, Wilder actually broke his hand. He said Wilder threw a wild shot, because he did say, you know, Wilder sometimes doesn't turn over in his shots. We all know that. He said Wilder caught him. Wilder threw a punch at him and caught him on his elbow and broke his hand. I never knew Wilder had a broken hand going into the first Fury fight. Now, I'm sure it healed to some degree, but I didn't know that. And if I did, I don't remember ever hearing that. So that lets you know, man, how these fighters, man, people always say 100%, 100%. Man, it's rare that you go into a, look, you're going to go into a fight dinged up somehow, some way, whether it's a wrist injury, an ankle injury, a knee injury, elbow, something. So when people say, you know, 100%, dude, you're never really going to compete at 100%. It's just that, can you go in there and carry whatever little ding it is? Can you carry it out through a fight? You know what I mean? But I never knew that, though, man. And I don't think Wilder even ever said anything about it. And I believe Thun was saying, damn, you guys got to watch the interview, man. But he was saying that Wilder didn't want to get out. You know, he wanted to announce the fight, so on and so forth. But that was crazy, man. So I'm keep an eye out on Christian Thun. Like I said, 5-0, 3 knockouts. He'll be taking on Mirko Tintor tomorrow. So I'll definitely be on the lookout for that outcome of that fight. My man Mike 104 was good, bro. He says, hope your birthday was cool. It was straight. It was cool, man. Whenever I spend time with the family is good. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Interesting interview by Christian Thun, man. Then he also gave, you know, how it was sparring, you know, other guys and being in other training camps. You know what I mean? But I thought that was an interesting listen to his interview, man, about being in different camps. And it was just funny for him to say, yeah, Wilder tried, you know, because I've never really, you know, I've never been in a Wilder camp to watch him spar. So I always wondered, like, how does he look like in sparring? You know what I mean? But I guess he goes in there and goes for the kill, man, even when he's sparring dudes. And you know what they say sometimes, you perform the way you spar. You know what I mean? So it's fitting, right? He goes in there and pretty much tries to knock out everybody that he fights. And when he's in sparring, he tries to knock people out as well. You know what I mean? Man, Poby the God, what's good, man? So yeah, y'all, just a short live. I know everybody's anticipating the Crawford and Brook, you know what I mean, that's taking place tomorrow. So I guess the heavyweights, you know, will take a back seat. Well, not for me, but for most of the fans, or for the boxing fans out there tomorrow. And, you know, it's cool. Terrence Crawford's pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, man. So I'll definitely, and Kell Brook's no pushover, man. I know, you know, people look at the fights with Golovkin and Spence, and hey, man, that dude also beat Sean Porter, was able to stand up to Sean Porter and meet his physicality and outbox Sean, man. So Kell Brook's no pushover, man. He was giving Golovkin some good rounds before he got pieced up, you know what I mean? And he was, Mike 104 says, what are your top 3 must-see heavyweight matchups for 2021? Well, first and foremost, man, I've been wanting to see Undisputed, since after it happened in 1999, I've been wanting to see it ever since. You know, Lennox ended up dropping one of the little straps off or whatever so he can fight, forget who he wanted to fight. He dropped one of the straps, but I want to see Undisputed, man. So Fury versus AJ or whoever has the titles going into next year, because I'm not going to overlook Pulev. I think AJ is going to have to really bite down, man. I'm curious to see what kind of style AJ brings to that fight. That's a different video, though. But he has to get past Pulev, and Fury I don't know what the hell's going on with him and Wilder. All this back and forth in the media, the fight's on, the fight's not on. I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to fight you. You had egg weights in your gloves. I didn't have egg weights, whatever, man. But look, Fury, if you don't fight Wilder, you're talking about him possibly fighting Caballero or Carlos Takam, all right? But anyways, going into next year, man, to answer your question, Mike, because I want to see Undisputed. So if it's AJ and Fury, then I want to see that one. I would love to see another fight that's going to take place they're talking about. Hunter just has to take care of business on December 19th against said Journeyman. And then he'll be going into next year. They're talking about him and Herkovic, right? That's another fight that I really want to see is him and Herkovic. And then let's say that AJ Fury do meet, first part of next year and AJ has to drop that WBO. Then I can't wait to see Usyk take on whoever it is going to fight him for the WBO. Now, WBO, man, they got 2 fights scheduled. So if Usyk has to fight somebody, I'm curious to see what they're going to do, because you have Junior 5 taking on Joseph Parker. They're rated number 3 and number 6, respectively, by the WBO. And then you also have Dubois is for sure. And I think Joyce may be number 11 or he may be top 10. But then you have that fight going on as well. So I'm not sure how the WBO is going to have this, man. If they have Usyk, who is the mandatory, fight somebody for that vacant title, who would they have him fight? So Usyk versus fill in the blank for the WBO if that were to happen. Also, you said give you 5, so that's 3. So also I wouldn't mind seeing this Povetkin versus Dillian White rematch. The targeted new date is January 30th. So that's another one. And then I'm trying to think of another one, man. Any type of good elimination fight, bro. Like, I would like to see something with Andy Ruiz, Luis Ortiz, Charles Martin. I mean, there's a lot of other guys out there, man. So just, got to wait to see what's going to be on the queue, what's going to be on the schedule. Bruce Goals, what's good, bro? But yeah, man, I'm going to jump off here. But yeah, man, I wanted to just tell you guys that interesting story about Christian Thun talking about Wilder, cutting him and sparring off the first punch. And then he also said that Wilder broke his hand on his elbow throwing a punch at him. And this was all in preparation for the first Fury fight. I never knew that Wilder had a broken hand. You know what I mean? But I'm going to leave that link to that interview in the comment section when I get this uploaded. You know what I mean? You guys can go check out Christian Thun. Check out, him talking about being in Klitschko camps, being in Wilder camps, AJ, and then also his journey with his own career. It's 5-0, 3 knockouts. He'll be fighting tomorrow. He's 6'9", 260 pounds, man. You know what I mean? He resides in Miami right now by way of Germany. You know what I mean? So I'm going to leave that link for you guys in the comment section, man. Just a short live. Wanted to get out some little heavyweight news to you guys, man. Till next time, y'all be easy. I am gone.